Hi everyone and welcome back as I take a look at Blake 7 selected episodes of Season 2. To give you a little bit of an idea of this one, Travis is now on the run from the Federation. He has fallen out of favour, probably because of all his slip-ups trying to capture Blake. So, hostage. The story starts quietly enough, but unfortunately that quietness is interrupted. The Federation launched their biggest attack on the Liberator, and it suffers moderate damage, you could say. We know it suffers about 5 to 7 hits, probably a bit more than that. It's chased around, and it's a well thought out plan by the Federation. And Blake basically just takes this approach to try and outrun the Federation pursuit ships. And eventually he does outrun them. The captain of this attack force is basically put under arrest by Sutherland for failing to destroy the Liberator. No surprise there, coming from Sutherland. Meanwhile, back on the Liberator, they receive a coded communication. The coded communication comes from Travis. Travis states he's on the run. He's on the planet X-Bar, and he's holding Ashton's daughter, Inga, hostage. He wants Blake to turn up to X-Bar and basically have a talk with Travis. Yes. Avon obviously smells a rat, but Blake goes along with it because of the hostage situation. Sutherland receives some sort of bizarre communication, and she sets out for the planet X-Bar. Avon, being Avon, is concerned, and he decides to teleport down to X-Bar to follow Blake. Now, Blake has already teleported down, and he has met up with Ashton, who gives him the story of what is happening down there. And he tells Blake Travis is held up with a bunch of crimos, as they are called, in some sort of old Federation facility. Avon notices that Ashton is not quite who he's making out to be, and he asks Villa to come down to X-Bar, and that's exactly what happens. Villa teleports down. Ashton communicates to Travis that Blake is on his way, and there's nothing he can really do because Travis is holding Inga as hostage. Blake is captured by the Crimos and taken. Avon instructs Villa to keep an eye on Ashton, but unfortunately Villa, being Villa, doesn't do a very good job of it and is promptly taken by Ashton, who reports him back to Travis. Who else is down on the planet? 2 others. And what happens basically is that Avon and Villa are also captured. And that makes Travis very happy, as he now talks to Blake. Travis has his little talk with Blake, and he basically says, I want the Liberator. Blake refuses, obviously, and Blake is promptly locked up. Villa and Avon are escorted back up to where Travis is. They're locked up, and then Ashton turns up. Travis asks him a very strange question. Who's the weakest of the three? Well, it's obvious, isn't it? I'll go into a bit more on that later. And so Villa is then obviously brought out, interrogated by Travis. Travis wants to teleport one of his crimos up to the Liberator. And Villa, under pressure, blurts out, teleport. And that's exactly what happens. The crimo is teleported up to the Liberator, where he's taken to the flight deck for a quick look round and then brought back into the teleport area and is promptly disposed of by Jenna and Callie. So that's one crimo gone. Meanwhile, back down on X-Bar, Avon tells Blake he sent a communication to Servalan telling Servalan exactly where Travis is. Blake is not very happy by this little piece of news. Inga and Ashton carry out what looks like a diversion, and Travis and the remaining crimos go sort of charging out the complex after Inga. Ashton releases Blake and Avon, and they also depart the complex and turn the tables on Travis. There's a fight here and there, and the crimos are taken out literally one by one. And Travis has a bit of a shootout with Blake and Avon. Travis injures Avon, but eventually Travis is taken by Ashton, and they basically tie Travis up. So Travis and his crimos have now been dealt with, meaning that Blake and his crew can now escape back to the Liberator. Blake communicates to Jenna to come down with some more bracelets. That's exactly what she does. And then they all promptly go back up to the Liberator, apart from Ashton and Inga, who remain on X-Bar. Later in the evening, because it is a little bit darker, we see Travis stumbling around in the dark, and he comes face to face with Servalan and a mutoid guard. Servalan says, "Oh dear, you failed," and so on in a way. And she basically says, "You're still on the wanted list, Travis, but you're unofficially still working for me. And when you succeed, I will declare you dead and you will be free." And that's basically where the story ends. It's a bit unusual. And on that note, it's time for my final thoughts. Right, my final thoughts on this particular one. Well, I did like the Federation sneak attack on the Liberator at the start of the episode. That was very good. And I do like the idea of Travis being on the run eventually, because it just shows that Servalan's patience has run out with Travis. But yet, Servalan is still keeping Travis on a leash, unofficially. It's a not bad episode. One of the weak points of this episode is Travis asking Ashton who's the weakest out of the three, Blake, Avon and Villa. Now, Travis is not a stupid man. I can imagine Travis would know straight away. It's not going to be Blake. It's not going to be Avon. So who's he left with? Villa. So that little little thing in the episode is I do find a bit niggling. But there you go. That's the way it goes. Yeah, so Hostage is not a bad episode overall. It's what I class as an average or just slightly above average episode. There's not much more I can say about it. And I think on that note, I will end there. But the next one I'll be reviewing, for me, will be definitely a bit better than this one. And it's quite an interesting one because, well, I'll talk about that in due course. In the meantime, have a great day, everyone. See you soon. Goodbye.